Hello and welcome to SEO show number 11. First of all, we are not live today. Unfortunately, we're doing this after the event because yesterday we did have some little technical glitches. Thought we better mention that to you up front because, of course, we're not going to be able to answer any questions during the show or anything. Well, we're still going to bring the content to you just as was planned. And here we go, Henrik.
Yeah, welcome to this little show. And just a reminder, if you like the stuff that you're seeing on the show, please subscribe to our channel. And in today's show, we will give you a few sites at a little bit later in the show, which maybe be of benefit to you. So, Tony, take it away.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you. We were doing some looking. That doesn't make sense. We were looking at the statistics for the show, and like I say, this is show number 11, and already we have had over 500,000 hours of views on the 10 previous shows. I went to my spreadsheet because I really like spreadsheets, and I typed in 500,000 hours to try and figure out how long that is. If I was the one that had watched 500,000 hours of this show, which I might be responsible for half of that, but not the whole lot, I can assure you. If I were the one, how much of my life would I have taken up watching 500,000 hours? And it came back spookingly close to the age I am already. You know, I think it came back to about 57 years. So the amount of people that have watched this show over 10 weeks, 2.5 months, actually equates to my whole lifetime, day and night. If I'd have just been born and sat there and watched YouTube from the day I was born until now, that is how much of the show has been watched, which is just mind-boggling, isn't it? It's just phenomenal. So thank you, whoever wasted my life watching shows. But no, it's really, really impressive. I was just really shocked when I realized how many hours that really does mean, because sometimes you just see numbers on a page and it's complete nonsense. But anyway, there we go. So here we go with show number 11 and another 50,000 hours or so to add to the watch list, I hope. Today we are going to be talking about hashtags. The reason this topic came up, well, manifold really. We started noticing odd behavior in YouTube, for example, because we did a show before, we put up a hashtag and suddenly the hashtag popped as a clickable link. We started noticing these things happening. People started talking about using hashtags in Google My Business. And I just wanted to do some experimenting just around the use of hashtags to try and see how far we could use these for SEO benefit. It's sort of a bit of an extension on last week's topic of entities. To that end, I went away and registered a hashtag called entity blending. So the word entity and the word blending, both with initial caps and then merged together as one word. I think they call it camel case, where you get one long word with lots of words in between, all initial caps. So I registered the term hashtag entity blending and set up all the details and everything else. Now, those of you who are saying, how do you register a hashtag? We're going to be talking about that a little bit very soon anyway, when Henrik comes back into the conversation, because there's things we need to tell you about that. But anyway, nevertheless, I did register this. I then went out and did a press release. I went and talked about it on my blog and various different things. And I wanted to see how easy it would be to take a term, register it as a hashtag or use it as a hashtag, and then get some sort of brand strengthening around that. We've tried a few different key hashtag phrases as we've gone along through this few days of testing. What we haven't tried is the actual brand itself, which would be quite interesting to do. So Henrik, I mean, that's the basic backdrop. So we've got this hashtag entity blending. We've used it in, no, we haven't used it in today's show. We've used it before. We've used it around and about for examples. And we've also, in today's show, we just put the hashtag in the title and in the description, which you may have noticed. And this is just so we can base our discussions around that from that. Henrik, have you got some sort of input. Should we start with talking about how the hashtags are used maybe in YouTube, whether we use them in the titles, the description, the tags, what benefit that appears to have in YouTube videos?
Yeah, in YouTube you can put in a hashtag in your title, or if you put it in the beginning of the description, then it will appear just above the title on the watch page as a clickable link for search, which means that the hashtag that you create will be a search result when you click on it. So if you have a hashtag entity blending and you click on that link on the watch page, Google will make a search where it will lay everything it has in terms of entity blending into that search result. So what we noticed was that whenever we are creating a YouTube live event or Hangout, or using Hangout, Google themselves puts in hashtag Hangouts in plural, or hashtag Hangouts on there. And there must be a reason why they do that, because they want to relate that live event to a Hangout. So our belief is that whenever you're using hashtag in the tag section, it actually has an influence on some of your search results. So if you mix your tags with hashtags, that might improve your rankings in the search results. And of course, you make it easier to make a search result for your own videos where you have used the hashtag, maybe a special hashtag. And then when people are clicking on that on the watch page, then you will see a research of all your videos that's relating to that specific hashtag.
Yeah.
In terms of the other things that we can say about hashtags and search results is that on Facebook, when you're using hashtag, each hashtag will receive its own unique URL. And the question is whether it's the it has any SEO benefits. We doubt that, because the Facebook algorithm has actually done whatever it can to not get a reach on Facebook, except if you pay for it. So that's why Facebook is becoming dying in a sense, because even our shows in the group where we played it live didn't receive that many views or attention as a YouTube live event as we're having now would receive. So we also know that Social Examiner moved their Facebook show to a YouTube live show, because that was actually much higher reach that they got there. So basically, in terms of hashtag and Twitter, I know did you have some results in terms of your initial
in Twitter? No. I must admit, I put it on Twitter towards the end. I mentioned the hashtag entity blending towards the end in Twitter, because I suddenly realized, well, hang on a minute, hashtags seem to have come from Twitter. It seems to be one of their filtering processes, for organizing data. So it made sense to put it there. I also was aware that Google do tend to display results from Twitter as well. So I did put a mention out there probably about 3 or 4 days ago, but it's still not gaining any real relevance. And I mean, this could be because I'd probably need to mention it several times over before Twitter started picking it up as anything significant. Just as one mention on a Twitter account that I've probably not used for 3 years anyway, it seemed to bear no significance whatsoever, which is a bit surprising for considering that Twitter is probably the home of the hashtag anyway. I mean, one of the things that we did was we went over to Google and did the search for, hashtag entity blending. And I mean, it's not about really, because nobody would go and search for a hashtag in Google anyway. So this is sort of nothing to do with whether we're getting results in Google or not. I think we've sort of almost clearly defined that the benefit of hashtags are within social media, but with the exception of Facebook, of course. They do work in LinkedIn. I'm sure they do. They do work in Twitter. They do work in YouTube, without a question, shadow of a doubt. Anyway, we wanted to go to Google to see how they were interpreting hashtags. So I did the search term, and you can do this yourselves as well. But the hashtag for entity blending, and it brought up 4 results. I think initially, and these were filtered results. This is another thing that I've noticed with when you're doing searches around hashtags, the results, it comes up with the message down at the bottom saying it's a filtered result. So it only shows you what it deems as the most important. What it showed me was the press release that I'd written, which was on the original source, i.e. my blog. It showed the hashtag, it showed the press release that I had written on the press release media page. So you could say it was the source of the press release, the authority, the originating source of the press release. It brought that up, and it brought up 2 instances, I think, of the YouTube videos. These videos, the ones that you're watching now, the shows that you're watching now, it brought those up. In fact, I think they were different. I think one was a YouTube video actually on the YouTube site itself, and the other was a YouTube video been talked about in the CommonSenSEO blog. I think I'm right in saying that. And they were the results. The Twitter didn't show up, which is a bit bizarre, probably because I didn't give it as much push in on Twitter. But then again, I didn't give it much of a push in any of these. So anyway,
on Twitter, Tony, it depends on the reach that you're getting, i.e., how many who will retweet your tweets. So
nobody was going to click on that.
You can say that if you put out a tweet and it's retweeted, or if you have a Twitter network like an IFTT network, then you will have a faster indexation of the link that you're putting out in Google. We know that Google is indexing Twitter quite fast, so that might be
exactly. So this led us to realize, I mean, I know this was a filtered result, and if you undid the filtered result, you would see all the different press releases and so many more things. And I think Facebook I might have seen it on Facebook. Anyway, whether I did or whether I didn't, it doesn't really matter. I merely use Google as a guide as to how it was apportioning sort of priority to the different ways it was showing the results for that entity. YouTube, clearly, because it's Google, was showing up quite prevalent. So I think that pointed us back to YouTube being a good source. But then also it highlighted another what would you call it? Another vulnerability, shall we say, about using these. I mean, you could say that hashtag entity blending, is Google actually really searching because it's a hashtag? Does it know that? I'm sure it does know that it's a hashtag, but it could be that by creating this word, this entity blending as one word, this camel case word, whatever, there is a better word for it than that, I think, as well. But this blended word, it's actually a unique word in its own right. So again, how do we know that it's searching for the hashtag in Google as opposed to the term entity blending per se? Because that in itself is a unique keyword. So it's a little bit difficult to pull all the. I know we could do another search without putting the hashtag symbol at the front, but you could almost see with the way Google filters things, it starts getting a bit blurred. It's not really easy to define where these results are coming from. So okay, so then this highlighted the fact that in a way, although we've registered this term, that possibly doesn't mean anything. Although we can use this term, should I say, to strengthen our brand. If we wanted to strengthen our brand, there's the thing I think we need to get on to discuss now is there's nothing stopping anybody else necessarily also using that same hashtag. So Henrik, do you want to sort of talk about what you found about the like these, for example, like the use of using maybe Neil Patel or whatever in your hashtags and things like that? Yeah, the use of the fact that we've discovered that we don't believe that hashtags there's no uniqueness, is it? You can't lay claim to a hashtag no matter how many times you register it. So yeah.
What we can say is that even though that you can register your hashtag on Twops or hashtag.org, there's no legal binding commitment to that, so to say. The only way that you can actually have a legal claim on a hashtag is if you register it as a trademark. And that's the only way that you can get it. If you register on Twops or somebody else's site, it's like being registered in Yellow Pages or whatever, or in a directory where you're paying for it. And maybe within that, let's say, framework, you could have the sole right to use it, if you so to say, but of what use. We know that when you're following a discussion on Twitter with a hashtag, for instance, if you're in Britain and you have hashtag Brexit as a hashtag, then everybody who's tweeting about that subject would use that hashtag. But if you're starting a conversation with a hashtag and hope that there will be your brand, everybody participating in that discussion can actually dilute that benefit of it. So I don't see any real benefit in registering a hashtag. I can show you the sites, just sharing my screen here.
Yeah, one of the reasons that we came to that conclusion as well about the registration. I mean, Henrik's going to bring up the Tub site or hashtag site now, but one of the reasons that we thought, hang on a minute, if you do this Google search, where are they? They're not showing up, and if they were the authority for that term, then surely they should come up in the search engine above the results for my blog or for the press release or for the YouTube video, which they don't. So obviously Google, and this is who we're trying to sort of fool or whatever anyway, Google are not seeing these sites as authoritative necessarily. So, okay, have you got, you're on them now, Henrik?
I had Troops up. So what you can do, you can enter in a hashtag like Brexit, and then you can see whatever comes up in related to Brexit, trading Brexit, reality check, Brexit for consumer, Brexit cast, etc., etc. So you can see whatever has been used in terms of the term. So if I'm going for common sense, you can see CommonSenSEO comes up down here as a hashtag. So we have been using it. So you can use this site for searching trending, and you can go in, sign up, and register a hashtag if you like that. You can also use another one, which is called hashtag sacrifice.me, where you can go in and search for a term like again, and click search, and then you will again see what comes up and how much it has been used, track, countries, etc., where it's coming from.
Yeah. So we had to then think, well, so what is this telling us? Where's the benefit in the use of hashtags? If we claimed, like you saw there, CommonSenSEO, so yes, that hashtag exists, and yes, it's registered with TWUBS. It's not a paid for registration. I've not actually claimed it as such. I just declared it as a hashtag. Now, I haven't actually started pushing that out anywhere. So probably if you tried searching for it, oh well, no, it does actually, doesn't it? We just tried. So I think we did anyway, and we came up with all sorts of all of our videos. But I haven't done anything to link those up. I haven't, not at all. And the thing is you know, I could say, well, look, it's registered. It was sort of under my account, but it wasn't paid for registration. It's false registration almost. There's nothing stopping somebody else, like I don't know, Search Engine Journal, using that hashtag, and because their site is more authoritative than ours, then you would see that our hashtag would come up, above. Sorry, not ours. Search Engine Journal would come up above us in any search results. So in a way, that's like they would be gatecrashing our hashtag because they've got the higher authority. They would be getting found. So you've got to be very careful about the benefits of relying on hashtags, because you've got no control over who uses them. And if you're not in a strong position from the starting point, then you could probably find that it could backfire on you, because other people could come in and take away your traffic. I think that's what we're saying here.
That's the same way as you can use a popular hashtag in order to sneak in on a conversation, sneak in on an influencer's discussion thread, right?
Yes.
So if you have somebody who is following somebody else and you use their hashtags, you might, in a tweet conversation, sneak in with your tweet. Maybe it's not relevant, but it should be relevant. But in that way, you can actually use it to gain some attention for your own, let's say, cause, right?
Yeah, I mean, just as people will find you, so say if you do a tweet or if you do a YouTube video with hashtag Brexit in the title and Brexit in the description, that will pop up there. Now, that puts you on that blog roll, as it were, of comments about Brexit. And just as you're doing that, now that seems fairly innocent because you just want to join in the conversation. But of course, if you're Pepsi and you then start using hashtag Coca-Cola, well, obviously that's not the best idea. But if you did, you can see how Pepsi could get themselves in the place. And while you start looking at authority, strength of brand, and everything else, if you start bringing this back down to launch jacking, let's say, and you've got people that are putting out a product, the chances are that there's no information out there anyway about that product necessarily, because it's a brand new product. So there wouldn't be a lot of competition. There probably wouldn't be authoritative sites for that product, because their sites, the product is new. The sites haven't had any time to get any authority. So if you were doing launches and you had a YouTube channel around product launches, the chances are your channel would have far more authority than the original product creator. And in those cases, I could see that a hashtag could possibly get you ahead of the curve. So there are benefits when you look around. There's definite benefits of using them, but I think what we're finding is that there's nothing set in stone. I think it would be difficult to rely, would you say, on a hashtag? But there's opportunity there.
You should use it in your mix of the different tools that you're using. So if you're using different kind of media to promote your stuff, use the hashtags whenever you can. There might be situations where you're using hashtags where it has no benefit. We know that, for instance, when you have Google My Business post, in the post in itself, it doesn't have any SEO value, but you will actually taking up important space because you only have 300 words or 1,500 characters that you can use. So if you're filling up with no use hashtags, it might be better off to actually using for your actual post instead of, or a link in there instead of.
Yeah. Whereas the YouTube description, I think that's different again, isn't it? Because when hashtags are mentioned within the YouTube description, they are pulled out and identified as hashtags. So again, it's experiment. There's bits where there's no perceived benefit. That
but
we've got reason to believe that in the Google My Business they do sort of, if it's left in a review, there's reason to sort of suggest that they understand the term.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily letting you benefit fully from it by making it clickable or anything else. Because I suppose
it's actually a way whereby you can highlight your keywords in terms of if you're a carpet cleaner somewhere, then hashtag carpet cleaner within your reviews would actually promote your services like your categories. So in that sense, it makes sense to use them there.
Yeah. So there we go. I mean, it's early days yet. We'll probably be carrying on with some other experiments and watching how these things grow and develop, because like I said, there is an interest. What you should do is, yes, you should use, if you want to take out use a hashtag, you should use a hashtag as part of your brand. You should use it frequently. As we discovered, the more you use it, then the more your subscribers, your followers, your people who are looking for you, the more your hashtag will become part of the conversation. As your hashtag becomes part of the conversation, it will therefore be diluted because the conversation goes beyond you. And if somebody then happens to mention your hashtag and point people to a different competing brand, then in that case, there's not a lot you could really do about it, either legally or ethically or anything. It's one of those things. It sort of almost goes with the territory. If you want to open up the benefits of pulling things together using that branding, then that's fine and it's advisable. But it's also it's also, you've got no control over where that linking and conversation, that topic thread will go, to some extent, to a lot of extent, really. Yeah, and I think that sort of really brings us around towards the what we've found so far on hashtags. Is there anything that we've actually missed out from all of this?
No, not other than, of course, there's social sites where there's a benefit of using it for your searches and participate in conversations, and that gives you a quite good benefits. So Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, and Twitter, of course, is those platforms where you can use it with benefits. And just to mention, we mentioned YouTube. There's a limit to how many hashtags that can be shown as clickable links, which we believe is 15 as the max. But that's another issue. We will test that. So the key takeaway, Tony, is that there exist sites where you can register your hashtags. The benefit of that is questionable, but you can use those sites as sites for searching trending topics. And so if you're posting on your social channels and you want to find some trendy topics, then you can use those as search engines, and gives you an idea of what people are talking about at the moment.
I mean, one thing that just popped into my head then was, if somebody wanted to say, oh, well, what about the CommonSenSEO Show or whatever? Yeah, what's the deal about them, or what's the deal about, I don't know, any other brand, Ranking Factory, whatever. If you was using your hashtag consistently across your branding, then you could just turn around to those people and just say, oh, just Google hashtag CommonSenSEO Show or anything like that, couldn't you? Hashtag CommonSenSEO. Just Google hashtag Coca-Cola, anything, whatever the brand is, your brand, and then people understand hashtags. People could take that away, remember that, and go and do that Google search. So it could be almost like useful as a business card in some extent, as long as there's not a lot of bad press out there about you. Anyway, there we go. What's your thoughts on that, Henrik? Sorry.
And you should definitely use hashtags, as I said, whenever you can for your branding purposes, being related to some terms that you want your brand to be related to, and use it in as many as possible of the sites that is supporting hashtags.
Yep.
Like LinkedIn, like Instagram, like Twitter, like Pinterest. So,
and very definitely, yeah, YouTube definitely yeah, it looks like it's a good ploy there. So anyway, I think it's fair to say that we're pretty much at the 30-minute point. We don't want to go on too long on shows where we don't have to give extra time to guests. So we're going to wrap up now. I want to thank everybody for being here. I know there's nobody here because, of course, we're recording this one behind closed doors. We do apologise for the technical glitches we had yesterday, and we hope that we won't experience them again in the future. Next week, we will be... I don't know what we're doing next week, actually. We did have a bit of a yes, I do know. Sorry, I'm showing my ignorance now. Next week, we'll be looking back over the last 10 shows, maybe not all of them, but we'll be looking back over there and just pulling together some of the thoughts that we've had, some of the discussions that we've had, and what we've taken out of them, how they've benefited our business, how those discussions that we've had over the first 10 shows or 11 shows now, might help you moving forward. Some of the offers that have been put out there that are still there, that will help you, no doubt. We're not doing this to make money. We're doing this to help you grow your business. And so I look forward to seeing you again next week on next show. Henrik, would you like to say anything to wrap us up?
Yeah, if you like what we are bringing to your screen, then click on the subscribe button and hit the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. So thank you very much from this end here, and see you on the next show.